You know, it feels like artificial intelligence is absolutely everywhere these days, doesn't it? Just everywhere you look.
It really does. Almost overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as business owners, I think we're all caught in this whirlwind, really, trying to figure out, okay, how do we best leverage it? How do we use this stuff without getting completely overwhelmed or feeling like we suddenly need a PhD in computer science overnight?
Right. Or feeling like you have to drop everything else just to keep up.
Exactly. And you hear so much chatter, so many headlines, and often the narrative, it seems dominated by like AI replacing jobs or how it's going to automate every single thing we do, kind of reducing that human touch.
Hmm. That fear is definitely out there. The replacement anxiety.
It is. It can feel like this massive, abstract, sometimes intimidating force that's either, I don't know, coming to save us or maybe take over completely. It's a bit much.
You can feel that way for sure. A lot of noise.
But here's where it gets really interesting. And I mean, like a complete paradigm shift from that doom and gloom.
Okay, I'm listening.
Our source material for this deep dive, it suggests this powerful counter narrative, a much more empowering one, actually, that just flips that whole script.
Flicks the script how?
Well, it posits that AI isn't here to replace you. The unique creative force, the strategic mind behind your business, that's still you.
Okay, so it's not about replacement.
No. Instead, it's actually designed to replicate your best moves, but do it at scale. Imagine your most brilliant ideas, maybe your most effective way of talking to customers, your most efficient processes.
Wow.
Now imagine that amplified, consistently,
Yeah.
across every single touch point. That's a fundamentally different way to think about it, isn't it?
It absolutely is. That shifts it from a threat to, well, a tool, a powerful one.
Exactly. It transforms AI from this potential threat into an incredible strategic partner, someone or something on your team.
It truly is a vital distinction.
Yeah.
And, it's one that every small business owner, every entrepreneur needs to grasp right now.
Yeah.
Because the speed is just, oh, wow.
You mean the speed of adoption?
Yes, exactly. What's fascinating here is just how rapidly AI adoption is accelerating within the small business landscape. We're not talking about some distant future thing anymore.
Right, it's happening now.
Absolutely now. According to the SMB Tech Trends 2025 report, get this, over 55% of small businesses are already experimenting with AI.
Wow, over half already.
Over half. Whether it's through, simple automation tools, maybe content creation platforms, or even getting into more complex customer service solutions. That's a huge number.
It really is.
It shows a clear, undeniable appetite for this technology. Businesses are jumping in, they see the potential.
But is it smart jumping or
Yeah.
just jumping?
Well, that's the critical challenge, isn't it? This immediate eagerness, this rush. It leads to a key question. Are they doing it strategically?
Okay. So maybe not always planned out.
Often not. Many businesses, they're driven by maybe the desire to keep up or just to simplify tasks or honestly, just to try out the latest buzzword.
FOMO is real. Fear of missing out.
It absolutely is. And so they rush in without establishing clear guardrails, without a brand-aligned plan.
And the result is?
Predictable, unfortunately. It can be generic copy that sounds like literally everyone else, or off-brand messaging that actually dilutes their unique identity, or just a total disconnect from what their brand truly stands for.
Which is basically a disaster for customer trust.
A disaster, because your customers connect with your specific brand. And the core insight here, and what our source material really hammers home, is that the winners in this rapidly evolving landscape, they won't just adopt AI.
They'll do something more.
Yes, they'll be the ones who pair smart strategy with brand-first execution. They'll be intentional about ensuring AI amplifies their unique voice, their values, rather than accidentally watering them down into blandness.
Okay, amplifying, not diluting. I like that.
That's the goal.
Absolutely, and that's exactly the mission we're embarking on today. Our source material for this deep dive is this incredibly insightful, really practical guide. It's titled Your AI Readiness Playbook: 5 Steps to Build a Brand-Aligned AI Strategy.
Sounds useful. Where's it from?
It comes from Crespo AI's digital library, and honestly, it's such a clear, practical roadmap, seems specifically designed for entrepreneurs, for small business owners like our listeners.
Good. Needs to be practical.
Totally. So our mission today is basically to unpack this playbook, go through it step by step to help you listening transform artificial intelligence from just another piece of software you maybe dabble with into a real tangible brand asset. Think of it like, I don't know, a shortcut maybe to making AI your most consistent, most creative teammate. Your ultimate brand
A
translator.
teammate and a translator. That's a powerful combination.
Right. It's all about being intentional.
Precisely. And that's the overarching theme we'll explore throughout this deep dive. It's about moving beyond simply adopting AI.
Just having the tool.
Right. And truly committing to aligning it with your core business. We'll be looking at how you ensure your AI amplifies your brand's unique identity, its personality, its values, not waters them down.
So everything it creates feels like you.
Everything, whether it's, say, a social media post or a customer email, maybe even internal communications, it has to genuinely reflect your business, its distinct personality, and, crucially, its strategic goals.
Okay, so it's not just about sounding right. It's about doing the right things for the business, too.
Exactly. We're talking about intentional, thoughtful integration, making AI a strategic partner that genuinely contributes to your growth, not just a task doer.
Okay, let's unpack this first step then, because it feels incredibly foundational, like the non-negotiable starting point, maybe.
Absolutely. Step one. You can't really build the rest without it.
And how many of us, honestly? How many have just jumped onto a platform, maybe opened up one of those large language models, ChatGPT or something similar?
The popular ones.
Yeah, and just thrown some prompts at it, kind of expecting magic. You type in something like, I don't know, write me a social media post about our new widget, or draft an email about our summer sale.
Hope for the best.
Totally. It was cross your fingers and hope it somehow sounds like you, like your brand. But the playbook highlights this common critical pitfall right up front.
Which is?
AI simply cannot mirror your voice, your specific tone, your unique brand personality. It can't do it if you haven't explicitly defined what that voice is.
It needs instructions, clear ones.
Exactly. So what does that look like in practice for a small business owner, maybe someone who doesn't have a dedicated brand team or a big marketing department? How do they even begin to tackle codifying their voice? Where do you start?
Yeah, you've highlighted a crucial and, frankly, very common mistake. The source is unequivocally clear on this. Far too many teams, especially in, agile, lean, small business operations.
Where everyone wears multiple hats.
Precisely. They hand off content creation, or sometimes even critical customer interactions, to AI with no established playbook. No clear guidelines for tone or style or specific messaging do's and don'ts.
Just kind of winging it.
Winging it. And then, understandably, they're left scratching their heads, wondering why the output feels, well, robotic or bland or generic or just completely misaligned with the authentic human touch they've always prided themselves on.
Yeah, that disconnect must be jarring.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because if your brand voice isn't clear, if it's not articulated somewhere and accessible, on paper in a practical way, AI will inevitably default to the path of least resistance. It'll default to generic cliches.
The sort of bland corporate speak.
Exactly. And that's precisely where authenticity starts to slip. That's where your unique brand personality gets completely lost in this vast sea of sameness online.
Can you give an example of how that slip happens?
Sure. Imagine for a moment that your brand prides itself on being, say, witty and maybe a bit irreverent. You love using playful language, clever puns in your marketing. That's your thing.
Okay, got it. Fun brand.
Right. Now, imagine your AI, without any explicit guidance on how to be witty or what kind of humor is okay, suddenly starts churning out these super generic corporate speak emails. Stuff that sounds like it came from a faceless, bureaucratic entity.
Ouch. Total brand mismatch.
Total mismatch. Or think about maybe a small, passionate artisan bakery. Their whole brand is built on warmth, handmade charm, community connection.
You can almost smell the bread.
Exactly. And then their AI-generated social posts sound like they're from some huge, impersonal grocery chain, utterly devoid of that warmth and handmade charm they've worked so hard to cultivate.
That's painful. It feels like a betrayal of the brand.
It really is. That's the real danger here. It's not just about being bland. It's a fundamental erosion of trust and connection with your customer base.
Right.
Because you're no longer showing up as you.
Right. Your customers came to you for you.
Precisely. They came for your unique offering, your specific personality. And if your AI can't deliver that consistently, you're missing a massive opportunity. Worse, you might be pushing people away.
Okay, so the risk is clear. What's the fix? What's the strategic move?
So the strategic move here, and the playbook, emphasizes this as the absolute first step.
Before anything else.
Before anything else, is to create a concise, effective brand style guide.
A style guide. Okay, that sounds potentially daunting. Like a big corporate binder.
No, definitely not. When we say style guide here, please don't picture some massive, intimidating 50-page corporate document full of obscure grammar rules and academic jargon nobody reads.
Okay, good. That's a relief.
This needs to be short, it needs to be strategic, and most importantly, it needs to be deeply reflective of your brand's actual essence, something you and your team can actually use day to day.
And something the AI can use, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
And more importantly, something your AI can be trained on effectively. So the natural follow-up question here is, what exactly should be in this non-daunting style guide to make it truly effective for AI?
Yeah, what are the key ingredients?
The source breaks down specific elements that are absolutely vital and actually surprisingly simple to start with. First, you need to define your tone.
Tone. Okay, like formal or informal.
Yes, but go deeper than that binary choice. Is your brand voice genuinely empathetic, always leading with understanding and warmth? Or is it perhaps bold and provocative, maybe unafraid to challenge the status quo and make a strong statement?
How do you capture that?
Think about specific scenarios. For example, if a customer posts a complaint on social media, how would your brand ideally respond? Would it be super apologetic and soothing, maybe saying something like, oh, we're so sorry to hear this, we're here to help immediately?
Okay, the empathetic approach.
Right. Or would it be more direct and solution-oriented, maybe even with a touch of empowering humor, if that aligns with your brand? Something like, oh no, that's not right. Let's get this sorted ASAP, because we're all about solutions, not problems.
Ah, so giving concrete examples of the tone and action.
Exactly. Give the AI examples of each. Show it not just what words to use, but the underlying feeling you want to convey in different situations.
Makes sense. What's next after tone?
Secondly, list out your core brand traits. Think of maybe 3 to 5 adjectives that truly describe your brand's personality.
Like personality words.
Yes. The Playbook provides examples like bold, curious, or empathetic. But figure out yours. Are you playful, authoritative, nurturing, innovative? These aren't just buzzwords you stick on a wall. They become guiding principles for how your AI should communicate.
How do those traits translate?
Well, if your brand is curious, for instance, your AI might be prompted to use more open-ended questions in its responses, encouraging dialogue and exploration.
Okay.
If it's bold, maybe uses stronger, more declarative statements, more confident language. These traits subtly inform everything from word choice to sentence structure to the overall rhythm of the communication.
Got it. Tone, traits. What else?
Then, consider sample phrases. This is really practical. What are common expressions, unique jargon, or specific ways of phrasing things that your brand consistently uses?
Like inside jokes or specific terminology?
Exactly. Think of a brand that maybe uses a specific friendly greeting like, hey there, customer name, instead of the generic, dear valued customer. Or maybe you have a unique closing sign-off you always use.
Huh.
Perhaps there's a particular way you address your community, your followers, your members that feels exclusive and familiar. Write those down. Incorporate those specific phrases.
And what about things you don't say?
Crucial point.
Yeah.
Also, list things you never say. Are there certain industry buzzwords you actively avoid because they sound stuffy or inauthentic? Maybe certain phrases feel too formal or perhaps too casual for your particular brand identity. Defining the don'ts is just as important.
Okay, so clear boundaries.
Clear boundaries, which leads to the final key element. Establish clear messaging, do's and don'ts. These are your non-negotiable guardrails.
Like red lines.
Exactly. What topics should your AI explicitly avoid talking about? Are there specific competitors or sensitive industry terms you never mentioned in your outward-facing communications?
Mm-hmm.
Should all communication, no matter what, maintain a positive and uplifting tone, even when delivering maybe less than great news? Should certain types of information always be presented with a specific disclaimer? These boundaries are just as important for training the AI as the guidelines for what to say.
So tone, traits, phrases, and dostons. That feels manageable.
It's designed to be. The overarching goal here is simple, but really profound. AI should never have to guess what your brand sounds like.
Take the guesswork out.
Exactly. This isn't about stifling creativity. It's actually about being incredibly intentional and precise from the very start. As Christian Crespo, who's the co-founder and chief brand strategist at Crespo AI, puts it perfectly in the source, and I'm quoting here, if your brand voice isn't clear on paper, AI will default to cliches. That's where authenticity starts to slip.
That quote nails it. It really does slip away fast.
It does. So it's all about building that solid, well-defined foundation first, providing AI with the precise parameters it needs to truly embody your brand's unique identity, not just mimic some generic idea of it.
That makes so much sense. It really hammers home that the intelligence in artificial intelligence, well, it isn't about it magically knowing your brand inside out.
Not at all.
It's about you intelligently feeding it the right detailed information. So it's not just about, sounding good superficially. It's about being your brand consistently across every single interaction, even when AI is doing some of the heavy lifting.
Precisely. Consistency is key.
This truly feels like foundational work that pays off hugely down the line. It's like an investment in your brand's core identity, making sure that as you scale up, your voice scales with you, totally intact and authentically yours.
Couldn't agree more. It's upfront work with long-term dividends.
But I wonder, I'm thinking about a very young startup, maybe just a founder or two, and they might feel like they haven't quite found their voice yet, or maybe it's still evolving rapidly. Is this still step one for them? Or is there like a preliminary step they need to take before they can even begin to codify something that's still forming?
That's a great, very practical question for those early-stage entrepreneurs. And I'd argue that for a brand that's still finding its voice, this step is arguably even more crucial
Oh, really? More crucial, why?
because it forces them to start thinking intentionally about it. But maybe the approach is slightly different initially. Instead of trying to define a fully baked, immutable voice right away.
Which they might not have yet.
Exactly. The preliminary step for them is perhaps to focus first on their core values. What do they stand for? And also, who do they want to be for their ideal customer? What problem are they genuinely solving? How do they want their customers to feel when they interact with the brand? Start there.
So values and desired customer feeling before specific words?
Kind of. A young startup might begin with a really mini style guide, maybe focusing on just a few key words, those core values or the desired feeling that describe their intended tone and personality.
Like a starting point.
Exactly. They can then experiment more freely with actual human-generated content emails, social posts, website copy, and carefully observe what resonates most with their early audience. What gets the best response? What feels most them?
And then use that feedback.
Yes. Then they iterate on their mini-style guide based on that real-world feedback. It becomes a living document, evolving as the brand itself evolves. The absolute key is to start somewhere, even if it's just a few bullet points on a page.
Why is just starting so important?
To prevent the AI, if they start using it early, from establishing a default generic baseline voice that then becomes really hard to shake later on. Once the AI learns a certain way of speaking for the brand, retraining it can be tougher.
Okay, so define something, even if it's provisional.
Exactly. The act of defining, even if it's an evolving definition that gets refined over time, is what matters most in these early stages. It sets the right intention.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork. We're defining our brand voice, giving AI those clear guidelines. Fantastic. But I can almost hear some listeners thinking, okay, I have my style guide now, so now I just press a button, right? Like I input my command, maybe reference the guide, and out comes perfectly branded content.
The magic button dream.
Yeah, that vending machine mindset,
Yeah.
where you expect a one-click miracle. It's incredibly common when we first approach any powerful new technology, I think.
Understandable, but usually flawed.
Right. The playbook, though, suggests a radically different approach, and honestly, a much more effective one, viewing AI not as a gimmick or a vending machine or even just a one-off tool, but as a creative teammate.
A teammate, that's a significant shift.
It feels like a huge psychological shift, doesn't it? Especially for entrepreneurs who are maybe used to doing everything themselves or maybe delegating tasks very directly to a human. How is thinking of AI as a teammate fundamentally different in approach? And how does that actually unlock its power?
It absolutely is a significant shift, you're right. And embracing this particular mindset is, I think, crucial for unlocking the true, maybe even exponential potential of AI.
Exponential. How so?
Well, when you view AI as a strategic partner, as a genuine collaborator, rather than just a simplistic tool or some kind of magic black box, you stop expecting those one-click miracles.
Okay, manage expectations.
Exactly. You stop thinking of it as just a servant that's going to solve all your problems without your strategic input or direction. Instead, you start to unlock this potential for exponential collaboration.
Collaboration between human and AI.
Precisely. This isn't about AI replacing human creativity, not at all. It's about AI profoundly augmenting it, amplifying it, and making your best creative and strategic work more consistent and much more scalable.
Okay, augmenting, amplifying, scaling. Got it.
So the key question that naturally emerges from adopting this teammate approach is, how do you actually brief an AI, like a collaborator? How do you interact with it the way you would onboard and guide a new human team member?
Right, you wouldn't just give a new hire a vague command and walk away.
Exactly. You'd give them context, goals, background.
Yeah.
The playbook provides some really practical, tangible ways to engage AI as this creative teammate.
Like what does that look like day to day?
For instance, think about co-brainstorming. Instead of you sitting there staring at a blank page, feeling all the pressure to come up with brilliant ideas totally solo,
Which can be paralyzing sometimes.
totally paralyzing, you can use AI to help generate a wide array of concepts fast. Imagine you're stuck on, say, blog topics for your upcoming summer sales campaign.
Okay, common scenario.
You prompt the AI, you give it your target audience details, your brand voice parameters from your shiny new style guide, and the seasonal theme. It might then spit back, I don't know, 20 diverse ideas in seconds?
20 ideas just like that.
Potentially. Ranging from maybe backyard BBQ recipes for the modern family, if you sell outdoor gear, to digital detox tips for a screen-free summer, if you're in wellness, or maximizing your tiny catio space if you sell home goods.
Wow, okay. Diverse.
Very diverse.
Right.
And then you, as the human strategist, the one with the intuition and market knowledge, you pick the ones that align best with your specific brand and your current goals. And you expand from there.
So it jump-starts the process.
Massively.
Yeah.
It saves potentially hours of just staring at that blank screen. And honestly, it often sparks new, unexpected directions you might not have even considered on your own.
I like that. Co-brainstorming. What else?
Another really powerful collaborative use is sparking drafts. We all know that feeling of struggling to get started on writing something, an email, a social post, maybe even a detailed blog article.
The blank page fear again.
Exactly. AI can quickly generate an initial draft for you. Now, the crucial point here isn't to just accept that draft as final and hit publish.
Right, it's a starting point.
It's a springboard. It maybe gets you 70–80% of the way there. It provides a solid structure, some initial content, and this frees you up to focus your precious human creativity and strategic nuance on that remaining 20–30%.
The important part.
The really important part. Refining the language, injecting your unique brand voice perfectly, adding specific, compelling calls to action, or maybe weaving in personal anecdotes or customer stories that only you can provide. It's about overcoming that blank page paralysis and getting momentum.
Okay, drafting assistant. That's huge. Any more?
The source also highlights testing headlines. This is great for marketing. AI can generate dozens, sometimes even hundreds of different headline variations for an ad campaign or an email subject line or blog post title.
So many options.
And beyond just generating them, some of the more advanced AI tools can even help analyze which ones might perform best based on certain parameters, maybe predicted click-through rates, historical data from past campaigns, or even estimated emotional impact.
Wow, okay, that's getting sophisticated.
It really is. It's incredibly powerful for optimizing your marketing efforts without relying purely on guesswork or endless A/B testing. And finally, the playbook mentions using AI for evolving campaigns, helping you refine and optimize your ongoing marketing efforts by suggesting tweaks, maybe new angles, or different messaging based on real-time performance data or current trends. It's like having a constant creative consultant on call.
So it's not just creating, it's optimizing too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But through all of this, the emphasis from the source is crystal clear. Your input, you better output.
Garbage in, garbage out applies here too, but for quality.
Absolutely. It's about guided intelligence, not autonomous, unmonitored creation just running wild. You are still the director. You're the strategist, the one with the vision, the ultimate goal.
Well, human is still in charge.
Always. The AI is the incredibly efficient, incredibly fast, and incredibly consistent executor of your instructions. But those instructions need to be precise, they need to be thoughtful, and they need to be deeply contextualized within your brand's unique identity and goals.
It keeps coming back to that upfront thinking, doesn't it?
It really does. And the playbook uses this fantastic analogy. It says, just like a new hire, your AI needs training.
Ah, the new hire analogy again. I like this one.
It's really effective, isn't it? It needs training not just on data, but on values, voice, and brand context.
So more than just facts and figures.
Much more. It's about truly imbuing it with your brand's essence. Its personality, its mission, its cultural norms, if you will.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just throw a new human employee into the deep end without a thorough onboarding process, right?
Yeah, definitely not. You'd introduce them to the team, the company culture.
Exactly. You'd explain your values, your preferred communication styles, your long-term goals. The same deep thinking applies to your AI.
So what does onboarding an AI look like practically?
Well, think about it. You're providing the style guide we just talked about. You're giving it those sample phrases, the do's and don'ts.
Mm.
That's part of onboarding. How do you ensure it learns the company culture?
Good question. How long?
By consistently providing feedback on its outputs, refining your prompts based on what it produces, and integrating it thoughtfully into your workflow, always alongside human oversight and review, especially at the beginning.
So, feedback and refinement.
Absolutely. And what's the equivalent of, say, performance reviews for AI? It's tracking its outputs against your desired outcomes. Did that email sequence convert? Did those social posts increase engagement? And then iterating on your prompts and your training data based on that performance.
Continuous improvement cycle.
Precisely. And as Brian Jagel, who's the founder and managing partner at Crespo AI, advises in the source, you get more from AI when you brief it like a collaborator, not command it like a robot.
Collaborator, not robot. Got it.
It's a partnership, a true symbiosis, really, between human intention and artificial efficiency.
I really love that analogy of training a new hire. It just makes it so much more tangible, so much more relatable than just thinking about using a tool or running a program.
It grounds it, doesn't it?
It totally does. It immediately communicates that we, as business owners, have to invest in it, just like any other valuable team member. It's not just about, the monetary cost of the software subscription.
Right, the investment is broader than just money.
It's about the time and the thoughtful effort you put into training it, guiding it, providing it with that rich context it needs to truly serve your brand effectively. That perspective really elevates AI from being just a simple utility.
To being a strategic asset.
Exactly, a strategic asset that you actively cultivate and develop over time. It makes me wonder, though, how does this mindset, this whole idea of AI as a creative teammate, truly impact the daily workflow for a small team, especially those teams, maybe just one or two people, who might be feeling totally overwhelmed by content demands already?
Oh, it's transformative for the daily workflow, especially for those lean teams.
Yeah.
It fundamentally shifts their role. Instead of feeling that constant grinding pressure to generate absolutely everything from scratch.
Which is exhausting.
Totally exhausting and often unsustainable. The team's role shifts. They become more like curators, editors, and strategic directors of the content rather than just the assembly line workers producing it all.
So moving up the value chain, in a way.
Absolutely. Imagine a small marketing team, maybe just one person, who used to spend hours every week just drafting basic social media posts. Now, with AI as their teammate,
That collaborator.
exactly their collaborator, they can generate multiple draft options for those posts in literally minutes. Then, they can spend their valuable human time, their strategic brainpower, on refining the best options, personalizing them deeply, and strategizing which posts will have the most impact and why.
Freeing up their time and energy.
Massively.
Yeah.
It frees up so much creative energy for higher-level thinking. Maybe for building deeper customer relationships through more personalized outreach, or for exploring completely new market opportunities they never had time for before.
So it's about efficiency, yes, but it's more than that.
It's much more. It's also about elevating the human role from just repetitive content production to strategic oversight, creative refinement, and relationship building.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it makes everyone on the team more productive and, hopefully, less burnt out.
Okay, this is fascinating. So we've gone from the absolutely crucial foundational work of codifying our brand voice.
Step 1. Non-negotiable.
Right. And we're embracing this exciting new mindset of treating AI like a true creative partner, a collaborator.
The teammate model.
Exactly. But what happens if that partner, that teammate, no matter how eager or well-briefed they are, what if they're getting bad instructions? Or maybe worse, what if they have access to flawed or outdated or just plain incorrect information?
The data quality issue, yes.
This next step in the playbook feels incredibly practical and maybe, I don't know, a bit obvious once you hear it. But I bet it's something that's often overlooked by busy entrepreneurs who are just trying to keep all the plates spinning.
Very easily overlooked, but critically important.
And that step is keeping your AI's brain clean. When we talk about AI, we often focus on the impressive outputs, right? What it generates. But this step is all about the quality of the inputs. What exactly does that mean for a small business owner who's relying on AI for various tasks? And what kind of mess are we really trying to avoid here?
You've hit on a crucial, fundamental truth of AI.
Yeah.
Simply put, AI outputs are only ever going to be as good as the inputs they feed on.
Makes intuitive sense.
It's the classic garbage in, garbage out principle, but applied directly and sometimes devastatingly to your brand's digital presence and its foundational knowledge base. The source issues a really stark warning here.
Okay, what's the warning?
Outdated FAQs lingering on your website, broken links scattered throughout your blog archive, stale employee bios that reflect old roles or haven't been updated in years, incorrect product specifications from a previous version, old pricing information that's no longer valid, or even conflicting brand messaging buried deep in different documents across your shared drive.
Wow, okay. That sounds like a lot of potential problems.
It is. That's precisely the kind of dirty data your AI will absorb if you let it. And then it will reflect that mess back to the world. And here's the kicker. It will do so with absolute fidelity, amplifying any inaccuracies, inconsistencies, or even outright errors it finds in the source material you provide.
So it doesn't just repeat the mistake, it amplifies it.
Often, yes, because it might use that faulty piece of information across multiple outputs,
Yeah.
spreading the error wider and making it seem more official or credible just through repetition.
Yikes. Okay, so cleanliness is crucial.
Absolutely crucial. It's not enough to just build a knowledge base that your AI can access and learn from. That's step one, maybe.
Mm.
But you need to constantly curate and audit it. Maintain it with the same meticulous care you would, say, your financial records.
Treat it like a critical asset.
Because it is. Your brand reputation absolutely depends on it. Imagine a nightmare scenario and these happen. A customer interacts with your shiny new AI-powered support bot. They asked about your return policy. But the bot gives them an outdated, incorrect policy because the source document, maybe a page on your website or an internal file, hasn't been updated since last year's change.
Oh no, that customer is going to be furious.
Exactly. It leads instantly to confusion, frustration, and a direct breakdown in trust. Or picture a marketing AI pulling old product descriptions that maybe don't mention a key new feature, or worse, mention a feature you discontinued. Leads to totally mismatched expectations for customers.
Setting them up for disappointment.
Right. Or, even more subtly, maybe a content creation AI generating blog posts or articles based on obsolete company facts, or maybe past company values that you've since evolved away from. It just subtly erodes your current brand narrative and positioning.
It makes the brand look inconsistent or out of touch.
Precisely. The consequences of these dirty inputs are really severe for a small business, where every single customer interaction matters so intensely. If your AI is constantly pulling from irrelevant, incorrect, or outdated data, it directly damages customer trust. Full stop.
Creates friction.
Creates friction, causes dissatisfaction. It erodes that hard-won brand consistency, making your brand appear disorganized, unreliable, or maybe even untrustworthy. It can lead to serious miscommunication, customer complaints that take time to resolve, and ultimately a negative perception of your business.
Which is incredibly difficult to recover from, especially for a smaller brand.
Incredibly difficult. So a key question that arises from this is, okay, how often should small businesses be realistically auditing this crucial knowledge base? Especially if they don't have a large team or a dedicated data manager, what's the right frequency?
Yeah, what's practical?
Well, it's certainly not a one-and-done task. You can't just clean it up once and forget it.
Yeah.
It needs to be a recurring process, ideally integrated into your normal operational rhythm. While maybe a thorough quarterly audit is a good baseline to aim for,
Okay, once a quarter.
it should also be trigger-based. What do I mean by that?
Trigger-based.
Whenever you have significant business changes, think launching new products or services, updating your core service offerings, changing your return policy, your privacy policy, doing a major website redesign, or even just making shifts in your core brand messaging or values. Those events should automatically trigger an immediate review and update of all the relevant AI knowledge bases and source materials. You need to treat this data hygiene as an ongoing, fundamental operational imperative. Just like you manage your inventory or your payroll, it's that important.
So routine checks plus event-triggered updates.
Exactly. Yeah. Brendan Crespo, who's the co-founder and business operations expert at Crespo AI, really drives this home in the source material with a powerful, quite stark statement. He says, treat your AI inputs like brand-critical infrastructure.
Brand-critical infrastructure.
Yeah. He continues, if it's outdated, your AI will amplify the mess. Think of it like the foundation of a house. If that foundation is cracked or unstable or maybe built on quicksand,
Doesn't matter how nice the house looks.
exactly. Everything built upon it, no matter how beautiful the exterior design is, will eventually show those flaws. It compromises the entire structure. Your AI is building its responses, its content, its interactions based on the data foundation you provide.
And its outputs directly reflect the quality of that foundation.
Directly. The quality, the currency, the accuracy of that data. So investing time and resources in data hygiene isn't just some technical task for the IT person. It's a non-negotiable brand protection strategy.
Protecting your reputation.
Precisely. It's about preventing those potentially costly missteps, those trust-eroding errors that could seriously harm your reputation before they even happen. It's proactive brand management.
Wow. Okay. That's such a critical distinction. So it's not just about having data, which, let's be honest, most businesses feel like they're drowning in these days anyway.
Data overload is real.
It is. It's about having accurate, current, and on-brand data that the AI can confidently and reliably pull from. That's a crucial distinction, especially, like you said, when we're trying to leverage AI for those really sensitive customer-facing interactions like support bots or personalized marketing messages.
The higher the stakes of the interaction, the cleaner the data needs to be.
Absolutely. The more direct the AI's interaction with your customers, the more absolutely vital it is that its brain is sparkling clean, totally up to date, and completely reliable. It's about preventing those missteps that could instantly erode years of built-up trust.
You got it.
But, okay, reality check. For a small business, maybe with really limited resources, how can they effectively manage this ongoing data hygiene? Without needing to hire a dedicated data team, are there any, low-friction ways to approach this? How do you make it manageable?
That's a very real and practical challenge for small teams. The key, I think, is to embed data hygiene into existing workflows rather than making it some separate, daunting, monolithic task that always gets pushed to the bottom of the list.
Integrate it, don't isolate it.
Exactly. First, maybe designate a single source of truth for the most critical customer-facing information, like your main FAQ page on the website or your official product description pages or your core services page. Make sure that specific page or document is always the most up-to-date version.
One place to rule them all for key info.
Sort of, yeah. Then train your team, or maybe even just specific individuals responsible for those areas, on the absolute importance of updating that single source immediately. Whenever policies change, products get updated, or pricing shifts. Make it part of the process of making the change itself.
Build it into the change management.
Yes. Secondly, leverage tools you might already have. Many website platforms, maybe your CRM system, often have built-in ways to tag or categorize content, which make it easier to identify which specific information your AI should access and which it should ignore.
Use the tech you have.
Right. And consider simple content audits on a recurring basis, maybe once a quarter, like we discussed. Someone on the team, and it really doesn't have to be a tech person, just manually reviews the most critical public-facing information for accuracy and consistency.
Focus on the big stuff first.
Exactly. Focus on the data that directly impacts the customer experience and your core brand promises first. Don't try to boil the ocean. It's really about building consistency and making it a habit, not some heroic one-off effort that happens once a year.
Okay, this is making so much sense. Define the voice. Treat AI like a teammate. Keep its brain clean. What's next? Because for ambitious entrepreneurs, like many of our listeners, there's always that tempting impulse, isn't there, to go all in on a new technology, especially something as buzzy and potentially transformative as AI.
The go big or go home mentality.
Exactly. You see the incredible potential, you want to scale fast, maybe get ahead of the competition, and there's this natural desire to just implement it everywhere at once, right out of the gate. Boom, AI everywhere.
Very common impulse.
But the playbook suggests the exact opposite approach. A much more cautious, perhaps, but ultimately, the source argues, smarter one. Start small, learn fast, and iterate often. Why is that the truly smarter play for a small business? Why not just try to boil the ocean right away and implement some massive AI overhaul if you believe in the tech?
That impulse to go big, to try and implement AI across every single facet of the business immediately, it is indeed one of the biggest mistakes the source highlights. And it's a pitfall that many enthusiastic businesses stumble right into.
Why is it such a mistake?
Because AI implementation isn't just flipping a switch. The playbook draws this direct, and I think very accurate, parallel to effective product strategy. As many successful founders know, product development thrives on pilots, on MVPs, those minimum viable products, before you ever even think about scaling broadly.
Test the waters first.
Always test the waters first. AI strategy demands the exact same iterative, agile approach. You don't try to build the entire skyscraper on day one. You build the first floor, you test its stability, you learn what works and what doesn't, and then you build the next floor based on those learnings.
So small, controlled experiment.
Exactly. You run contained tests, you meticulously measure the outcomes, what actually happened, you learn from those results, good or bad, and then you optimize your approach based on that real data. It becomes this continuous feedback loop.
Learn, adjust, repeat.
Precisely. Not a one-time, all-or-nothing deployment where failure could be catastrophic or incredibly expensive.
Okay, that makes sense from a risk perspective.
Absolutely. This iterative process is key because it allows you to actually refine your approach in the real world, to truly understand the nuances of how AI performs within your specific brand context, with your specific customers, using your specific data. And it allows you to adapt quickly as you learn.
Less chance of a big, costly failure.
Much less chance. It's about building momentum and, crucially, confidence through a series of small, manageable, measurable wins, rather than risking everything on a huge, potentially flawed, large-scale implementation attempted too soon. It fundamentally de-risks the entire process of AI adoption.
Okay, so how small is small? What are some concrete examples for a small business listening right now thinking, okay, where could I possibly start small?
Yeah, the Playbook provides incredibly concrete, practical examples for businesses looking to adopt this start small philosophy. You could, for instance, test AI-generated captions or hashtags for your social media posts.
Social media, okay. Seems low risk.
Relatively low risk, high learning potential. Instead of manually crafting every single post from scratch, let the AI draft maybe 3 to 5 different variations for a specific product launch announcement or a promotional message.
Get some options quickly.
Get options quickly. You, the human, then review them, refine them based on your style guide, choose the best fit. But crucially, you then track their performance. Compare them. Are the posts that were AI-assisted getting more engagement, higher click-through rates, more shares compared to your purely manually crafted ones from the past?
So measure the impact immediately.
Immediately. This gives you real, actionable data right away. Did it work? Did it save time? Was the quality comparable or better?
Okay, social posts. What else?
Or think about email marketing. You could pilot AI-drafted subject lines or maybe body copy for specific segments of your email list.
A/B testing with AI.
Sort of, yeah. Create 2 versions of an email, one that you write entirely yourself, and one where AI helps draft parts of it. Send them to small but comparable segments of your audience. Then you just compare their open rates, their click-through rates, see if the AI can help you craft more compelling hooks or clearer calls to action.
Again, very low risk, but potentially high impact if it works.
Exactly. It's a very low-risk way to experiment with a channel that's often critical for small business revenue.
Okay, got it. Any other examples?
Another great area to start, especially if customer service is a significant part of your business operations, is with customer support replies.
Using AI for support. That sounds potentially risky if we just talked about data hygiene.
But here's the key. You experiment carefully. You could use AI suggestions not to replace your human agents entirely, especially not at first.
Okay, augment, not replace.
Exactly. Use it to assist them. The AI could provide a suggested draft reply for a common, simple query, maybe about shipping times or your return process, things based on that clean data we talked about.
So the agent sees the suggestion first.
Yes. Your human agent reviews the suggestion, they quickly edit it for tone and accuracy if needed, maybe add a personal touch, and then they send it. This ensures consistency and speed, but always maintains that crucial human overlay for complex issues, emotional situations, or anything sensitive.
Human oversight is key.
Absolutely essential, especially in support. And then you track the results. How much time does this actually save your agents per interaction? Does the quality or consistency of the initial responses improve? Does customer satisfaction change?
Measure, measure, measure.
Always. The benefit of accumulating these small wins is profound. And Gabriel Crespo, who's the co-founder and head of digital influence at Crespo AI, captures this perfectly in the source material. He says, tiny experiments build real confidence.
Tiny experiments, real confidence. I like that.
Yeah. He adds, AI earns trust when it wins small before going big.
Earns trust, both with you and your team.
Exactly. This methodical, step-by-step approach allows you to really fine-tune the AI's understanding of your specific brand voice, your customers, and your particular use cases. It helps you identify its limitations early on. Where does it struggle? What kinds of prompts work best? Allowing you to adapt your strategy intelligently rather than being blindsided by a massive failure later.
Learn its strengths and weaknesses.
Precisely. And crucially, it helps build internal confidence and buy-in among your own team members. It shows them the tangible benefits of AI in a low-pressure way, without massive risk or requiring a huge upfront investment of their already stretched time and resources.
Makes adoption smoother.
Much smoother. You get to see the benefits unfold, learn what works and what doesn't in your specific context, and then gradually, intelligently expand its application based on proven success. It's all about methodical, data-driven growth in your AI capabilities, not just taking speculative leaps of faith because it's the hot new thing.
That's incredibly empowering, actually. It really drives home that you don't need a massive budget or a dedicated AI tech team to get started with AI in a meaningful, strategic way.
Not at all. Accessibility is key here.
You don't have to overhaul your entire customer service operation overnight or revamp your whole marketing department in one go, creating this huge, intimidating project that probably never gets finished.
Avoids that analysis paralysis.
Totally. Instead, you can build real momentum with these small, measurable wins. You prove the concept to yourself and, importantly, to your team. It significantly lowers the barrier to entry, making AI adoption feel less intimidating and much more accessible for basically every entrepreneur listening. It truly is about smart, incremental progress.
That's the path to sustainable integration.
But for a founder, maybe someone listening who really drives for perfection in everything they do, how do you overcome the potential fear of imperfection when you're starting small with AI, knowing that those initial outputs, those first experiments, might not be perfect? They might even be a bit bad.
Yes. The perfectionist entrepreneur. A very relatable struggle. The key is to consciously reframe what perfection actually means in this specific context. When you're starting small with AI, perfection isn't necessarily the flawless quality of the initial output.
Okay, so what is it then?
Perfection, in this stage, is the process of iterative improvement. Your goal isn't a flawless first draft from the AI right out of the gate. Your goal is to create a learning opportunity.
Learn from the imperfections.
Exactly. Think of that first AI output as a rough sketch, not the final masterpiece. Acknowledge up front, maybe even expect, that the AI's first attempt might be a bit clumsy or generic, or maybe even slightly off-brand.
And that's okay.
That's totally okay. In fact, it's valuable. That imperfection is the feedback you need to get better. Use those imperfect outputs as prompts. What went wrong? Why? Use them to refine your instructions, to add more specific details to your style guide, or to provide more context in your next prompt.
So the bad output helps you improve the input.
Precisely. The goal is maybe to get 80% of the way there with the AI's speed and efficiency, then apply your crucial human 20% for that final polish, the strategic nuance, and the perfect brand alignment. Embrace the draft stage. See it as progress, not failure.
Progress, not immediate flawlessness.
That mindset shift makes all the difference. It allows you to experiment freely without the paralysis of needing everything to be perfect instantly.
Okay, this journey is really mapping out clearly now. We've walked through defining your unique brand voice,
Foundational.
embracing the mindset of treating AI like a true creative teammate,
Collaborative.
the absolute necessity of keeping your AI's brain sparkling clean with accurate, up-to-date data,
Critical hygiene.
and then adopting that smart, iterative approach of starting small, learning fast, proving the value.
Building momentum.
Exactly. This whole journey brings us now to the fifth and final step in the playbook. And this one feels absolutely crucial for long-term sustainable success. It feels like the step that really differentiates merely using AI tools from strategically leveraging AI as a core part of the business.
This is where it gets truly strategic.
And that step is aligning AI with your broader business strategy, your business brain, as it were.
Right.
What exactly does it mean for AI not to live in a silo, just kind of off to the side, doing its own thing? And why is that integration so critically important for a small business's overall health and growth?
You're right. This step is truly the culmination of the entire playbook. It's really where AI transitions from being just maybe a departmental tool or a cool new gadget someone's playing with.
It's a shiny object.
Exactly. To becoming a true strategic asset, deeply embedded in your business's core operations and goals. The source makes it crystal clear. Your AI initiatives shouldn't live in a vacuum, isolated from your main business objectives.
Can't be its own little island.
It absolutely cannot be just a fancy new piece of software used by, say, only the marketing team for one specific task, without any real connection to the bigger picture of what the business is trying to achieve overall. Instead, it needs to actively reflect, and perhaps even more importantly, it needs to report back to your broader business strategy.
Report back. How so?
By showing its contribution. So a critical question arises from this. How do you proactively prevent AI from becoming just another disconnected tool?
Mhm.
Just another piece of software you pay for that isn't truly integrated into the core operations and, crucially, the long-term strategic goals of your business.
Yeah, how do you ensure it's actually pulling its weight strategically?
The answer, according to the playbook, lies in treating AI with the same strategic gravity, the same level of accountability that you would any other critical business asset. Think about how you manage your sales team, right? Or your product development roadmap or your financial planning.
You have goals, metrics, accountability.
Exactly. You set clear goals, you measure performance against those goals, and you hold those functions accountable for delivering results. The playbook advises adopting a very similar approach for your AI initiatives.
Treat AI like a core business function.
Essentially, yes. This means using maybe a centralized hub, or at least a clear system, to manage its various outputs across different areas. To consistently monitor its performance, is it actually doing what you intended effectively? And crucially, to align everything it does with your key performance indicators, KPIs.
Those specific measurable metrics?
Right, those specific metrics that show how well you're achieving your key business objectives, like customer acquisition cost or website conversion rate or customer lifetime value, and also aligning it with your objectives and key results, OKRs, if you use the framework for setting ambitious goals and tracking their progress.
So connect AI's work directly to the numbers that matter.
Directly. The benefits of this deep integration are enormous, and they really extend far beyond just mere efficiency gains. When AI becomes a core part of your command center, rather than just an isolated experiment happening somewhere else.
It's part of the main strategy.
Yes, it's significantly easier to keep your overall brand messaging sharp and consistently on brand across all your different customer touchpoints because it's all aligned. Your data tends to remain more consistent because the AI is drawing from and maybe even contributing back to a centralized, clean knowledge base that's tied to your strategic vision.
Better data consistency across the board.
Right. And most critically, your content and interaction outcomes become truly measurable in terms of business impact. You can start to directly track how specific AI-powered initiatives, maybe that email campaign or those social posts or the support bot, are actually contributing to your overarching business goals.
You can prove its ROI.
You can actually prove its value. This ensures that AI isn't just performing isolated tasks in the dark. It's actively, measurably contributing directly to your bottom line and helping you achieve your most important strategic goals. That makes it an accountable, indispensable part of your business growth engine.
Accountable and indispensable. That's a powerful shift.
It is. And Brendan Crespo, the co-founder and business operations expert we heard from earlier, reiterates this point with real precision and impact in the source. He states, quote, "Random tools create random results."
Simple but true. Random tools, random results.
Yeah, he goes on. "We treat AI like an asset with KPIs, accountability, and direction." That quote really encapsulates the entire essence of this final step. It's about intentionality, it's about purpose, and it's about ensuring every single AI application you deploy is aligned with your strategic compass and pulling in the same direction as the rest of the business.
Can you give a concrete example of how that alignment looks, like day to day?
Sure. Let's consider some concrete examples for how this alignment might look in a real-world small business setting. Let's say one of your company's overarching OKRs for the quarter is to increase website conversions by 10%.
Okay, common business goal.
Very common. You would then specifically look at how any AI-generated content, maybe this blog post optimized for search terms that drive traffic, or perhaps more compelling landing page copy drafted with AI assistance, or even implementing AI-powered personalized product recommendations on your e-commerce site, how those specific AI activities contribute directly to that 10% conversion goal.
Track their specific contribution to that number.
Exactly. You track the performance of that AI-generated content or those AI features specifically against that conversion KPI. Is it genuinely moving the needle towards the 10%? By how much?
Okay, makes sense. Another example.
Sure. Let's say a core KPI for your business is maintaining a high customer satisfaction score, or CSAT, maybe 95% or higher.
Also very common and important.
Right. You would then meticulously monitor how any AI-powered customer interactions, like those from a chatbot handling initial website inquiries, or maybe automated email replies for support tickets, how are those interactions influencing that CSAT score?
Are they helping or hurting?
Precisely. Are they improving your CSAT score, perhaps by providing faster, more accurate answers to 24/7? Or, conversely, are they maybe causing friction? providing generic or frustrating responses, and actually lowering your CAT score.
You need to know.
You absolutely need to know. By aligning the AI's function and its performance directly with these core business metrics, you ensure its efforts are always purposeful, always measurable, and always directly tied to what success looks like for your business overall. That way, it's truly driving value for your customers and for your bottom line.
So it really brings us full circle then, doesn't it? From the very beginning, that foundational step of defining your unique brand voice.
Step 1.
Making sure AI is trained and integrated thoughtfully, like a valued teammate.
Step
Maintaining that sparkling, clean, and accurate data brain.
Step 3. Crucial.
Proving its tangible value with those small, incremental, measurable wins.
Step 4. Build confidence.
And then finally, tying it all back explicitly to your core business objectives and diligently measuring its actual impact on those key goals.
Step 5. The strategic alignment.
Yeah. It's clearly not just about using AI as some standalone tool off to the side. It's about purposefully directing it, ensuring every bit of its output is strategically aligned with your overarching vision and directly contributes to your business's sustainable growth.
That's the path from dabbling to dominating with AI.
It transforms AI from being just a potential distraction, another shiny object to chase, into becoming an indispensable engine for progress and real strategic advantage.
Well said.
But I imagine even with all these clear steps laid out, there might still be some resistance to this level of deep integration, especially maybe in a small business that really thrives on being agile, nimble, maybe less structured. How do you overcome that potential inertia or maybe the fear of overcomplicating things by adding KPIs and tracking for AI?
That's a very valid concern, you're right. Because integration and KPIs can sound daunting, especially to a lean, fast-moving team. The key, I believe, is to communicate the why behind it very clearly to your team.
Focus on the benefit.
Exactly. Explain that it's not about adding more bureaucracy or complexity just for the sake of it. It's actually about simplifying things in the long run by making AI more effective. It's about removing those random acts of AI, the experiments that don't actually contribute to core business goals and just waste time or resources.
Eliminate the noise. Focus the effort.
Precisely. And start small here, too. Don't try to connect every AI initiative to every KPI overnight. Pick maybe just one single high-impact business objective to start with. Maybe it's improving lead generation quality or reducing customer support response times. Then show clearly how AI, when specifically aligned with that one objective, delivers tangible, measurable results.
Let the results speak for themselves.
Yes. Success stories, even small internal ones, build incredible momentum. When the team sees firsthand how AI helps them achieve their goals faster or better or makes their jobs less frustrating, the resistance naturally diminishes.
Makes AI feel like a helper, not a burden.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that this isn't just another tool we have to learn and track. It's a powerful strategic partner that makes their work more impactful and hopefully more rewarding. It shifts the conversation from "we're using AI for this task" to "AI is helping us achieve XYZ business result." That tangible connection to actual business success is often the best motivator for adoption and integration. Hashtag outro.
Wow, what a truly insightful and just incredibly actionable deep dive into building a brand-aligned AI strategy. It feels abundantly clear now, after walking through these 5 steps, that the best AI, the most effective AI, isn't artificial in the sense of being cold or generic at all.
Not at all.
It's profoundly aligned with your core values, aligned with your authentic brand voice, and aligned with your specific, measurable business goals. This entire playbook really emphasizes the transformative power of being truly intentional rather than just reactive or purely experimental when it comes to adopting any new technology, but especially one as powerful and pervasive as AI.
Exactly. And, this playbook, it really offers a powerful, clear choice to every single small business owner, every entrepreneur listening to us right now.
What's the choice?
You can choose to set the foundation now.
Yeah.
To methodically, softly lay down these 5 crucial steps we've discussed today. Define the voice, collaborate, clean the data, start small, align strategically. And when you do that work,
The payoff.
the payoff is that AI truly becomes your most consistent, most creative, and potentially most strategic teammate. It will amplify your best human moves. It will scale your unique voice across countless interactions, and it will contribute directly, measurably to your bottom line. That's path 1.
Okay, and path 2.
Path 2, as the source pointedly warns, is you can simply rush in. Jump in without a clear plan, without those critical guardrails we talked about. And if you do that, you risk becoming just another brand statistic, another business that tried AI once.
And decided it didn't work.
Exactly. And then walked away feeling frustrated, maybe disappointed, believing that AI didn't deliver on its promises, when in reality, it likely didn't deliver simply because it wasn't guided properly. It wasn't set up for
So it
success.
wasn't aligned.
It wasn't aligned. The potential was wasted due to a lack of strategy.
And we truly believe that you listening, you're smarter than that. The playbook itself actually ends on that exact empowering note. It says, but you're smarter than that. And we absolutely agree. You're now equipped with this knowledge, with these 5 actionable steps from the playbook.
The roadmap is there.
The roadmap is there. So as you go about your week, as you think about your own business and its unique challenges and opportunities, ask yourself, how can you start integrating these steps into your business right now? Which of these 5 areas, voice, collaboration, data, starting small, alignment, which one resonates most strongly with your immediate needs or pain points?
Where's the biggest leverage point for you today?
Exactly. And maybe most importantly, what small, manageable, low-risk experiment can you run first, this week even, to start building that confidence, to start seeing those tangible, measurable results, and to truly ensure that your AI becomes a powerful amplifier for your brand, not just another automation tool you tinker with. The future of your brand's voice, amplified by AI, is really in your strategic hands.